guys, big breaking news coming out. World War III updates. There's been a blackout at Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. And it's been like that for the past 3 days. And experts are sounding the alarm. They are saying that this could trigger Fukushima style crisis. Ooh, this is not good. Give me a second here. Let me just show you this part really quick here. The Zaporizhzhia, and this plant is in Ukraine, but it's being controlled by Russia. They're the one who's keeping an eye on this. But there's been more than, it's been 3 days already of blackout. The Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant has been without external power for 3 days, forcing emergency generators to run at full capacity. Experts fear uncontrolled reactor heating, according to The Guardian. So The Guardian is putting out the information. So external power to the plant occupied by Russian forces, they are in control of this plant, has been cut for more than 3 days, and emergency generators are sustaining cooling and safety systems. But there are no signs of a quick restoration of the power line. They need to get this thing on ASAP. Alright guys, before I start, for those of you that want to send us letters or prayer requests, you can send it to me, US Santiago, or my wife Jessica Santiago at 3432 US Highway 19, number 2, Holiday, Florida 34691. And for those of you that want to contribute to the channel, we do have the Cash App link and the PayPal link in the comments box and also description box. Thank you again for your support. Your support is what keeps us on air. Alright, so it says here, Western experts and Ukrainian officials fear that Russia is engineering a crisis to tighten its grip on Europe's largest nuclear facility. Moscow is taking significant risk by attempting to restart at least one reactor under wartime conditions. Wow. I pray that they're not using this nuclear plant for biblical war, because again, this will be really bad. It would be worse than anything. All right, so all these radiation could be spreading towards the entire European region, and that is not good. Once again, hit that like button, guys. I really appreciate it. If you can, do me a favor, leave comments in the comments box. These last few days, we've been seeing a decrease in comments now. It was views, but now the comments are gone. I see one video that only had 1 comment, and it was like 4,000 or 5,000 views, which is, something strange is going on there. So I don't know if the platform is hiding your comments. So in this video, let's try to get as much comments. You can say positive things like, hey, good work, and good job, and positive stuff. I just want to see what's, if it's the platform that's hiding the stuff now. So it says here, you have the bear is using the nuclear power station as a bargaining chip, a Ukrainian official told journalists. So meanwhile, Greenpeace experts warn of a new critical and potentially catastrophic phase of the occupation. Man, this is not good. And last night, I posted a video. You had the former leader of Russia, Dmitry. He sent a nuclear warning to the US commander and Ukraine. I mean, it just, things are looking pretty tough nowadays. Ever since the US president gave the green light to Ukraine and say, I got your back, Russia has been really, kind of strange with this nuclear plant now. So keep an eye on this one here. Hopefully they're not using this region for, biblical war and cause a huge radiation all over the place. Risk of uncontrolled overheating. European regulators stress test following the 2011 Fukushima event showed that a nuclear plant must have external power for 72 hours. Exceeding this period has not been tested. Currently, 7 of the 18 available generators are maintaining cooling. If they fail, uncontrolled heating of nuclear fuel in the 6 reactors could occur over several weeks, potentially leading to a meltdown. Oh, Comparison with Fukushima. At Fukushima, the accelerated scenario occurred due to a magnitude 9.0 earthquake. The reactors shut down automatically, but emergency generators were disabled by the resulting tsunami. Now, 3 nuclear rods melted within 3 days. Wow. And a few remain in the containment vessels. And there were no fatality, but over 100,000 were evacuated. So does that mean that that region needs to be evacuated? Anybody living near Zaporizhia needs to leave Dodge. Or just keep an eye on this. If you live out there near Zaporizhia, you may want to keep an eye on this story here. Russia's plans to integrate the plant into its network. There are signs Russia is close to connecting a new power line through occupied territory. Satellite imagery shows 125 miles of construction from the Russian grid in occupied Mariupol. Other images indicate that the construction of a dam to create a safer water reservoir, potentially enabling the start-up of one of the 6 reactors. A week ago, Russian Plant Director Jury stated that integration into the Russian grid is in its final stage. Although starting a reactor during wartime will be unprecedented. Critical situation at Zaporizhia and NPP nuclear power plant. On September 23rd, Gotam reported that the Zaporizhia nuclear power plant experienced its 10th blackout since the full-scale war began. The company noted that the last external power line connecting the plant to Ukraine's energy system had stopped working on September 25th. Gotam said that the plant was in blackout for a second consecutive day due to actions by Russian occupiers who deliberately did not restore power. On the evening of September 25th, the Russian leader Putin met in Moscow with IAEA Director General Rafael. Rafael called the conversation timely and important, but no specific decisions regarding the Zaporizhia plant were announced. This is very concerning. Everything's tight-lipped. No information. Everything's just tight-lipped. What's going on here? And how come this plant has not been turned on yet? Give me 1 second here, guys. Okay, so I'm gonna click on this one here. This is the continuation of the article. All right, so let's go up here really quick. So it says Russia is using the nuclear power station as a bargaining chip, said one Ukrainian gov officials, while a specialist at Greenpeace said that the Russian occupation had entered a new critical and potentially catastrophic phase. Again, guys, like I said, this is not a good thing. And again, the thing that pops in my head, and I know a lot of people don't know about these cards, but it's a card that was produced, it was released back in the 90s by a man named Steven Jackson, or Steve Jackson, I think that's his name. It's called the Illuminat, you know what, cards. You guys know what I'm talking about here. I'm not going to say the full name. Illuminat, you know what, cards. Now, in one of those cards, it shows a catastrophic event at a nuclear plant that it would impact the world. And we've seen a lot of these cards has come into, you know, fulfillment of basically, again, these cards is basically those in power just putting out all their plans, things to come, just like these movies foreshadowing world events. It says here stress test by European regulators after the 2011 Japanese reactor disaster at Fukushima indicated that a nuclear plant should be able to operate within external power for 72 hours. Going beyond that time limit is untried, Ukrainian sources said. So you have the Bear seized the Zaporizhzhia nuclear plant in March of 2022. This was a month later after the invasion. And its reactors, once capable of powering 4 million homes, were put into cold shutdown for safety. Crane regards the nuclear plant as its own, but the plant has cropped up in negotiation between the U.S. president and Putin. Once again, the U.S. commander, Donald, has tried to suggest the U.S. should take control, while the Kremlin has said it wants to restart all the reactors and connect them to the Russian grid. Wow. A task considered foreseeable only during peacetime. Man. External power has been lost at Zaporizhzhia 9 times before. On each occasion, the damage was done in Ukrainian-held territory by Russian forces striking energy infrastructures across the Dnipro. The final 750 kilovolt electricity line had run across the river, with Ukraine willing to supply energy to remain safety. Here's a picture. It's in the southern part of Ukraine. On Tuesday, the line was damaged on the Russian side, about a mile from the plants. The plant's Russian operators said repair efforts were complicated by ongoing shelling by Ukrainian armed forces. Wow. Though Ukraine says it never fires at or around the plant, that's not true. There's been a lot of information and even all these evidence that Ukraine is trying to hit that nuclear plant, so that way they could, that way radiation could be all spread all over the place and blame Russia and bring in NATO to activate Article 5. It never worked. It never worked. The Russians has always, made sure that that plant don't get hit. All right, it says here the IAEA said it had been told by the Bear operators that there was enough diesel to power the generators for 20 days without fuel resupply. But Raphael said loss of external power increases the likelihood of a nuclear accident. We don't want to hear that. 7 out of 18 available generators are powering cooling on site, but if they were to fail, Ukrainian sources said there would be a risk that the nuclear fuel in the 6 reactors would heat uncontrollably over a period of weeks, leading to a meltdown. Now, an accelerated version of this scenario happened at Fukushima because the reactor had just been operating. A 9.0 magnitude earthquake struck Japan, and the hot reactors on the site were automatically shut down in response. Emergency generators continued to pump cooling water around the reactor, but these were knocked out by a tsunami that followed minutes later. 3 nuclear cores at the plant melted down within 3 days, though the fuel remained contained. Nobody was out, but more than 100,000 were evacuated. It says here there are signs that Russia is close to installing a new power line into the Zaporizhzhia plant running through occupied territory. To resolve the crisis, they will portray themselves as saviors, the Ukrainian Gov official said. Now, analysts by Greenpeace of satellite imagery showed 125 miles of construction from the Russian grid in the occupied Ukrainian city of Mariupol, though it is unclear if a final connection to the power plant has been made. Other satellite imagery showed that the Russian occupiers built a dam across an inlet channel at the site in the summer in order to create a smaller, more secure water source. Greenpeace's nuclear specialist believe that there is enough water available for Russia to restart one of these 6 reactors, to assert that only it can run the the site. A year ago, Jareed, the Russian appointed director of the plant, said that the process of integrating the site into the Russian grid was in its final stages, though a restart of any nuclear reactor during a war will be unprecedented. You have Sean Burney, says here, the senior nuclear specialist at Greenpeace Ukraine, called on the head of the IAEA to intervene. Raphael needs to immediately tell the Russian Gov to abandon its plans for reactor restart and to make clear that they alone are responsible for the nuclear safety and security crisis, he said. Once again, neither Raphael nor Putin referenced Zaporizhzhia in limited public statements after their meeting on Thursday. The Russian president told Raphael, "We will do everything we can in order to support your work." Raphael described the meeting as timely and important. All right, so that's where we at. That is where we at right now, guys. Very important news here. Very important news. Ukrainian officials among those concerned, Russia is manufacturing crisis to keep hold of the front line plant. Experts are saying that this could lead to a huge catastrophe event. I will keep it updated on this one here, but it's still blackout going on in that plant. It's being run by backup generators, but for how long? Experts are really sounding the alarm on this one here. Thank you so much for watching, guys. For those of you that want to send us letters or prayer requests, you can send it to me, US Santiago, or my wife, Jessica Santiago, at 3432 US Highway 19, number 2, Holiday, Florida, 34691. Once again, guys, $5 a month Patreon. We get you access to our live stream once a week. We talk about things that we cannot talk about on the platform. Also, I posted videos today. Those links will be in the comments box. Thank you so much for watching. God bless you all. Faith and trust in Jesus Christ, for he's the only way, the truth, and the life. No one gets to the Father except through Jesus. Thank you so much for watching. Till next time later. Peace.